Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and over the past week or so we've had more news about what to expect for the iPhone 16, even iPhone 17, and of course earlier this week we had the release of iOS 18 public betas. We'll talk about that and more in this week's Apple News Update for the week of July 17th, 2024. Now, the wildly popular Delta Emulator app is finally here for iPad on the regular App Store. Previously, last week, it was available in the European Union on the third-party app stores. Now it's available around the world, so it natively fills the overall iPad. It worked on the iPhone before and iPad where you could sort of stretch it, but now it works natively on the iPad. According to Delta's developer, there's over 10,000 users of this app, or at least downloads of it, so it's become wildly popular. To go along with that, Apple finally approved a new app for PC Emulator as well. If we go in here, this is the first. Give it a second to load. It says UTM SE Retro PC Emulator. We have everything from Debian 11, FreeDOS, macOS 9.2.1, and even Windows XP emulators. So you can try different games on that if you have some of that software available, or just run classic software and games. So it's the first one to get approved that will run classic PC games. This past week, Apple updated their own Apple Store app with a nice redesign. The For You tab has been redesigned with some nice cards about don't miss the best of Apple. And then if we go to products, it's got a nice redesign as well with iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, and you can just slide over for more. Gives the price right there. It's just a nice redesign with a bunch of sort of card-style interfaces. And then we have a new tab called Go Further. You can see wide-angle portraits, different videos such as that with Book a Session for your group, and College Ready. You also can join a Today at Apple session, see different upcoming sessions, and get started with help here, get help setting up your device, and much more. They've updated search as well. It looks a little different. And also, something else that's coming out this week is a new Beats Solo 4 headphones. So Beats Solo 4, let's see if they have it. We've had this headphone for a while, but there's a new Minecraft edition that's releasing. So you can see it here, it's $199, Minecraft Special Edition, charged black. And if we scroll down, you'll be able to pick it up in a day or so, depending on where you're located. So you'll see the design there. They announced it, and it'll be available soon if it's not by the time you're watching this video. This past week, Apple announced a new HomePod mini color with a newsroom press release. This is a bit odd as it's called Midnight, and it's basically space gray that we had before. Some people have said that the images they're using for this are the same images they used as before, and they haven't even changed them. So the actual color is basically the same, they're just changing the name of it. Also, one thing to note is some people have said that this image with the cutout on the outer edge is kind of bad. So you can see that here where they should really maybe bring in a new image that's a little higher resolution with finer edges. But that's just something I thought I'd point out, as it seems odd to have a whole press release for a different color that's basically the same. If you're in Toronto, Canada, you can now use the Presto Fare card in the Apple Wallet. If you're in that general area, you'll be able to add it to your Apple Wallet and use it there. One other thing worth noting is within the Wallet app, it looks like Florida has dropped their plans to actually integrate their ID in here. They had a separate app, and many states have been considering it, but they have to work directly with Apple. If we go in and add a card under driver's license or state ID, there's only 4 present here. Many states were expected to sort of work with Apple to add this, but it looks like only these 4 have so far: Arizona, Colorado, Georgia, and Maryland. So we're still waiting for about 20 other states or so to actually work with Apple to implement this, but it's not something Apple actually sets up. I've had a lot of different questions about that. It's up to the state, the government, to set that up and work directly with Apple to get it implemented. Now, Vision Pro recently launched in more countries last Friday. But according to Bloomberg and the market tracker IDC, Apple is unlikely to sell 500,000 units of the device this year. The overall apps on the App Store have also slowed significantly from the initial launch, and while I think the product is interesting, and I do use it from time to time to do notes and sort of use it with the Mac, at its current price and form factor, I think it's way off from becoming mainstream. Maybe it's something we'll see more in the future with just glasses, but in its current form and at its current $3,500 to start price tag, I definitely don't see it becoming mainstream just yet. But let me know what you think of it. If you've tried it, if you're outside the US yet, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Now, Apple users are apparently keeping their devices longer and longer. In a recent study by the Consumer Intelligence Research Partners, more and more Apple users are happy to hold on to their current devices longer and longer. In the past year or so, 71% of iPhone owners reported that they actually keep their device at least 2 years. 68% of Mac owners reported that their devices were also over 2 years old. So it looks like people are just not seeing or being compelled to upgrade, although that might be part of why Apple Intelligence is only on the 15 Pro and 15 17 Pro Max, despite Apple saying it's a hardware limitation. They definitely want to sell more iPhones, and that's one way to do that if people are interested in Apple Intelligence. But we'll have to wait and see, as that's not implemented yet. Apple also shared a couple new videos on YouTube this week. And on Apple's YouTube channel, if we scroll down here, you'll see 5 days ago they have a new video shot on an iPhone 15 Pro called Suerte. This is a full video, 13 minutes and 30 seconds long, and then they had a follow-up video explaining or showing how they actually made it with the iPhone. The other day, they also had a privacy on iPhone video talking about security in Safari. So I personally use Safari as my main browser. I've tried out Arc a little bit, but I keep coming back to Safari, especially with iOS 18. Let me know what browser you use in the comments below. Now, as far as weekly Apple deals, well, there's quite a few of them since we have Prime Day and Prime Week, basically, and AirPods Pro 2 are down to $168.88, sold directly by Apple on Amazon. AirPods 3 are $119, Beats Studio Buds are $79.99, iPad Pro 13 is down by $100, so if you're looking to pick one of these up, it's down by $100, MacBook Air is up to $200 off, and MacBook Pro is up to $300 off. So if you're wanting one of those, I'll link them in the description so you can check them out. Some pretty great deals on those right now. Now, this past week was filled with all sorts of releases. We finally have the public betas of iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, and macOS, tvOS 18, but no visionOS 2.0. In fact, it looks like Apple's reserved that for developers at this point. So if you want visionOS 2.0, you'll have to use the developer beta, and they're not planning to release it as a public beta for some reason. Maybe that's just because the people buying these are mostly developers, or not a whole lot of public people will try it out, so we'll have to wait and see. But either way, I've tried it out, and visionOS 2.0 is really what visionOS 1.0 should have been. It's much more stable, smoother, better hand recognition, some changes as well, and I think it's a much better experience. Now, if you haven't signed up for the public betas, I just wanted to quickly show you how to do that. Go into your browser. If you go to beta.apple.com and scroll down, you can sign up here. And as long as you use the same Apple ID that you signed into your iPhone with, just go to your settings, go to General, and then Software Update, and you'll be able to update. You'll have the beta updates show up automatically, and you can select those. If you're a developer and you're wondering if you should switch to the public beta, well, Beta 3 re-release of iOS 18 is the exact same as iOS 18 Public Beta 1. You just get the developer betas earlier, so you can switch. If you want to switch now, you just won't get it until the next beta comes out. So you can switch back and forth, but there's not really a reason to change unless you want to make sure it's more stable than the developer beta, but they're always typically the same unless there's a major issue. As far as other updates this week, well, we had iOS 17.6 Beta 4 and all the other betas that go along with that. Lots of updates this week, but many people are asking me already, when is iOS 18 Public Beta 2 and iOS 18 Beta 4? Well, based on what we had last year, I would expect it probably around the 29th. That's typically what Apple does. They release the public beta, give it 2 weeks, and then release the next one. So that's typically what we see. We don't know that 100%, but based on what we've had before, that seems likely. I would also expect iOS 17.6 RC or possibly Beta 5, depending on what Apple chooses to do, probably around the 22nd or 23rd, with a final release on the week of the 29th again. So that's what I would expect. We really don't know at this point. Apple seemingly has scrapped iOS 17.5.2, probably just waiting for iOS 17.6. Now, when it comes to the iPhone 16, well, there's some more news to talk about. And as far as the iPhone 16 with the titanium color on the Pro and Pro Max, we're expecting to get a new color this year. This past year, we of course got the new blue titanium and of course natural titanium that we have over here. And it seems Apple likes natural titanium enough that they're going to keep it. But the next version will actually be a pink phone instead of blue. So we'll have natural titanium, silver, and pink probably, and maybe another color as well. We don't really know for sure, but it seems like there's going to be a rose gold or pink color to go along with the overall natural titanium options, black and silver. As far as iPhone 17, well, Apple's of course working on that as well, so we know just about everything there is with iPhone 16, with the new button layout, the new action button, maybe haptic buttons, updated cameras and internals, but Apple is hard at work on the next version as well, and probably even iPhone 18 at this point. And while we expect iPhone 16 to have an ultra-wide camera updated to 48 megapixels, we also expect iPhone 17 to have all 3 cameras updated to 48 megapixels, according to Ming-Chi Kuo. Ming-Chi Kuo also says that Apple has delayed a new process that would have helped make internals of the iPhone thinner for iPhone 17. Apparently, Apple had planned to use a resin-coated copper to help make the logic board thinner, but due to materials not really being up to Apple's standards, they've actually dropped that altogether. So that would make it a little bit thinner as far as the overall board goes inside or logic board, and it seems like they've dropped that. Something else that could help them make it even smaller is a 2nm chipset. However, it seems like that would be out at the end of 2025, according to a leaker on Weibo. It makes sense as Apple just gained 3nm chipsets, so they're working on those, upgrading those chips, then they'll move down to 2nm, making it even smaller and more power efficient. Now, of course, Apple is always working on the next MacBooks, and it seems the next MacBook Pros or MacBooks could have an even thinner display, maybe with an updated OLED, and Ming-Chi Kuo this week said that Apple plans to use a new compact camera module for the upcoming MacBooks. What that means specifically, we don't really know, but maybe we'll finally have 4K cameras or just thinner sensors so that we can have thinner screens with OLED. We don't really know that 100%, but it seems to make sense. Hopefully some Face ID sensors as well that could fit in the same space. It would be great to have that in addition to Touch ID. This week, we haven't heard anything additional about the upcoming Apple Watch. We know the Apple Watch Ultra 3 will probably have the same design we currently have, maybe in space black finally, but other than that, we don't expect much of a change. Maybe Apple Watch X or Apple Watch 10 will be the latest update with a full redesign, thinner design, maybe round. We don't really know, but it looks like maybe that's put on hold for now, or maybe just was never really a thing and was leaked to confuse some people. Either way, it's still a bit of a surprise. I'm sure we'll hear more and more as we get closer to the release of the iPhone 16, which is expected in September. So that's everything this week. Quite a bit of news with regular updates and everything else coming out with features and more. Let me know your favorite feature in iOS 18 and what you're looking most forward to in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.